Hey everyone, it has been a while since I've recorded a video, but this is definitely perfect timing. I've gotten a lot of texts and emails concerned about the market, and what I do want to point out is a couple things. One, anything can happen. It's the market. Even as great a technical analyst as you are, I mean, as we know, we can draw up the perfect plan and the market's going to do what it wants to do. So anything I say today is definitely not to be taken in any kind of, make sure that you don't allow what I say to skew what you're going to do for yourself. Make sure that when you're planning and plotting your moves, that you completely own that idea so that if it works well, then you can celebrate. And if it doesn't work well, then you just take that loss as a lesson and continue moving forward, but that you're not blaming it on anyone or anything. The one thing I really love about technical analysis is that I do not read the news. I do not look at the news. On occasion, it pops up if I'm on a social media platform, but I don't seek it. And just give me 1 second here. How do I? So what I mean by that is that it's not, the style of trading that I do is not dependent on the news, and I don't need to see it except for earnings. I personally do not stay in a swing trade, an option position, if earnings is coming up. I can be in it up until the day it's announced, or the day before it's announced, just depending on what time they're announcing it. But with earnings, you just never know what direction that thing is going to go. And it's typically a huge gap up or down, so I don't risk them. But besides earnings, knowing when earnings is, and anything as big as that, maybe a split day, maybe, no, really it's just earnings for me, at least for now. So I brought that whole thing up because the news, right? So I cannot watch the news, especially not right now. There is so much trash in the news and so many things that will scare you out of positions or scare you into positions. And for me, that's just not okay. There's a lot that goes on in my mind, so I want to do my part in filtering what I consume. And that has been really helpful over the years, especially, and not just in trading. I mean, that's just life in general. So let me take you to these two markets. So I'm going to go over the Nasdaq and then the Dow Jones. And what I want to show you today, I just want to present some information of what we're seeing and what potentially the market can do versus I'm not telling you how it's actually going to go. So give me 1 second here. All right, so what you're seeing here is the Nasdaq, and I've got it on the weekly chart for now. Some of these notes are from my daily chart, and I'll get to those in a second, especially if you've not been following my newsletters. Every week I just break down what I'm seeing and what the potential direction of the market can be. So, and that's free to join. There's a link in the channel description. Anyways, what we're seeing, and this is on the weekly chart, so 1 bar equals a week. So from this point here, this green bar is March of 2023, we have had a huge rise. So the Nasdaq was, and you can see here let me see if I can, so over here on the side, it tells you the place it was at, 11,644. And we went all the way up to 18.6. wild. I mean, it's not a straight shot up. We've had that pullback, we've had a small pullback, and now big or small, that's just really going to depend on the market. We are in that time of year where the market does tend to go down before it starts to rally back up, but the timing is what we don't know what can happen. So this pullback is not unusual. I mean, we saw the pullback, a tiny one here, or a short one here, and then this was a longer one. So this was the end of July all the way to almost the end of October. So a couple months there. This one was really quick, not even a few weeks. And then here we're on week 3 of our pullback. What I love about technical analysis is not paying attention to the news and things allow me to just watch what the charts are doing and be able to not be freaked out, because this coming down here, it was a possibility. So what we're trying to do over time is get better at this so that we can call the direction, that we're right in our call of direction more than we are wrong, right? So let me go over to the daily chart. And last week and I think the week before, I noted this top of, this was the top of this consolidation here. That consolidation was mid-May. And then I had noted that will this act as support, right? And it did until it didn't. So this was a Thursday bar, and then it just fell back into this area here. So now I'm looking at this line here that I drew that is the bottom of this consolidation. I chose this line based on this day and this wick and this previous top here earlier. So I've got a lot of touch points, so I feel confident in that being an area that can act as support. But as you saw here, even something it can act as support. I mean, you can still get trades in, on the shorter time frames here. And then, if you were in something here and it just dropped down, if you were in a call, I mean, good luck, right? That was hard to get out with any profit left or any capital left. So what are we looking at? Nasdaq daily. The lines that I have drawn, they're always going to be touch points from previous areas of consolidation or previous pivot points. Last week, the support failed here. Now this week here, this is, if you look on the side here, this little black tag, 16.5, will this line that was previous resistance, previous support, will that now act as support, or is it going to slice on through? In general, this whole structure is going up. So sometimes what is helpful to also add in are some trend lines. So I'm going to scrunch this in. I love trading views so much because you can just scrunch this in and get the whole picture. And I'm going to just put this here. Gonna adjust it because there's a couple of points. So this one touches twice, right? From the lowest point back in 2022 to this next point where it dipped down in October. Again, most of these declines are gonna be end of summer going into fall. And let me add another one. Oh yeah. Whew, I love seeing this. So this other one is based on this one that's here, one touch point, one hover, another touch point, and look at where that lands us. Crazy. It is so crazy to me. So will this, between this support and resistance line and this trend line, will this hold and allow the price to go back up? Or will it just slice through and continue on down? And when you draw these lines, they are points of awareness. They're not exact. What it does, it gives you an idea of like where it could pause or where it could bounce from. And at the same time, sometimes they just don't work, they don't hold it. But typically, even just on the smaller chart time frames, you'll see that they actually do honor those lines, even if it's for beginning of the day, half a day, a few days. So these are important to have on your charts. So what do I think coming into this week? I always talk about all three directions, which all three directions, you've got up, you've got down, and you've got sideways. And the only thing I want to trade is up or down. Sideways just eats up time on my options. And unless I'm in a really good profit already, I don't want to stay in something just day after day, not really going anywhere. So let's see here. If I were to tell you, if I were to tell you my ideas on this one, typically after anything that goes for a while, there is a period of digestion. So if anything, I would call sideways on this. And it's just going to go back up to this line and probably resist that line. It's going to come back down, maybe even through that trend line, but be supported here at this next line and just kind of work somewhere in this space. Now, if we've got a lot more people scared and selling off, you can see it easily just breaking through here. I don't think it's going to go past this one at 15.2. I think that this is definitely going to slow it down around 15.9, but if it does come a little bit lower, I would be surprised. I think that it's going to probably stay somewhere here. I'm going to just make my box bigger. I can delete these now. Acting as support. It was, and then it wasn't. Can't delete that one. Okay, I'll do it later. Maybe I'll just here. No. Okay. So I think that it's gonna stay in this, which it's still a big range, right? So the top of it is 17, the bottom of it is 15, 8, 15.9. So really like 1,000-point difference. Which is, I mean, it can be pretty big, especially if you're in something that's driving that run. Now, great for puts, not great for calls or for long-term holds. But if we get to this point and it holds here, then, I'm just expecting some digestion. It's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be a straight shot up. But maybe that digestion's not that long. So for example, here it came down, small digestion. This one's a really good viewpoint here. I'm gonna just draw a line at the top here, because on this one you see that it climbed, and then it came down, come back up a little bit, came back down. So all of this is in a base, and it failed to go up twice. And then on the third time, then it beelined up. So I don't think if it's going up, it's going to do a beeline from here. I think it's still going to have some things to do, whether it's more on of a sideways digestion or a stair step down. So until I see confirmation that the market is ready to rise and has settled all the people selling from being scared, and rightfully so. If you don't know about it, like, it is scary and you're seeing your accounts shed dollars. So I won't be in anything that I'm holding long term. My trades are going to be a lot shorter, so I'm not expecting like weeks into a trade, but definitely like 1 to 4 days, maybe make it the whole week, but usually like 1 to 4, 1 to 3 days. All right, so let me move on to our next one here. This is the Dow, and this is on the daily chart. I've got a lot of lines here. I'm gonna clean this up. Just gonna go ahead and remove the drawings, and let's do this one over. Let's take a look first at the weekly and what we're looking at. So here, remember, this is a 1 bar equals 1 week. I've got this great top here. So the Dow had reached this area and couldn't go anymore. So exhausted, it just started tumbling down, and then finally found some support here. And then it went up. And that was such a sharp rise that it was like a sprint. Especially y'all have been watching the Olympics. So this is like, if you are a sprinter, you did that, but then that's all you can do. So then you're just jogging it out. And that's what this is. It's just this jogging out of sorts. That is this area of digestion. So I'm going to mark the bottom of that up. And I'm going to mark this one here as well. Just notate that little bit there. And then here, it's going to look a little different on the daily chart. And then here. And that's where we're at. So here's where we're at. So even though it just feels like things are just shedding, if you look at this on the weekly chart, first of all, it still has more to, if it goes down, like we're still looking at the possibility of it going down to 36.3, but there is this little stopping point right around here. And this is not exact, but you see the support here, it dipped down, supported again. So that's what you want to notice even on the daily chart. So, all right, and daily. All right, so you saw those lines on the daily chart. They're just so far apart from each other. On this one, I'm going to add another line right here. So that's at the top of that consolidation. It resisted for a couple weeks. These are daily candles, but still this was more than 10 candles. So resisted it there, and then that same resistance area, the Dow found support right there. So here we are now. We've had this really just, this whole thing is the only way you could really trade that right there is with shorter chart time frames or getting into something and getting out of it, because typically in the summer the moves can be really choppy, so they're not smooth like this. They just tend to, they fall, they're not falling forever. If they rise, they're not rising forever. So now, as you can see what happened last week, we got that little, this is a couple weeks ago, we got that great little rise up, failed at that point, came back down, rose back up to that same point, and then started to fall. This candle is Thursday, this candle is Friday. And what is significant about it is that it fell back into this base here, so this shaded area I have. So that means that it, these two moving averages, it broke through them, just sliced through this support and resistance line, and it sliced, and then it tested here. This is the 50, so it went all the way down, went just a little bit beyond that, and then closed up here. So here's where it actually closed. So what are we looking at this coming week? Because it fell into this, actually first, let me do this. Let me see what trend lines and we can see here. I just scrunch this up. So that's 2 touch points there. What it's not grabbing is this area. Let me just draw a few more of these. See if I find something a little bit more significant. It's not what I wanted. 2 touch points is enough. What I meant is just like, let me see what else is there to kind of guide me in what I am looking for this week. So I got 2 touch points there. Draw some other ones here. This one would include these 2. Now, is there anything that really includes, let me see if I drew this one from here. Not really. So if I drew this one from here and I lined it up with one of the earlier, yeah, okay, I'll draw that there too. Now, should put these in colors as it looks like a little light show here. So what you want to see is that it's always just so fascinating to me how it actually stops. So that was one that I added in. It's this one. Let me change that color. Let's go. I know you really can't see that. Let me change this. I'm going to make it a thicker line. I'm going to keep a blue though. So this one was drawn from the bottom here, and then I lined it up with this area here, which is where it fell to in June, mid-June, and that is where it closed on Friday. So what is all this information telling us? So first of all, slice through these moving averages, but it is supported by that 50. I can see this still rolling over. If it does go down, I think this is as far as it's going to go. So we are right now here at 39.7. It's a big drop, 37.7. But I do feel like it would not go further than that. Now, if we're just talking about this coming week, what I think it could do, I mean, I think it can go up, down, or sideways, but let's talk through those. So if the 50 or even this trend line does act as support, I can see it coming back up, but I don't think that's likely. I think it's going to stay here in this area. That means it would break through or pause on this dashed line. And that would be one thing, just kind of going sideways back into this base. If it does continue down, I think no more than this one for the coming week. But again, awareness, right? Could definitely just go down. So if we're going sideways, it's going to be between here and maybe even between here. So it's going to kind of play around in this area. All right, y'all. So that is my technical analysis of the coming week, and just to give you a little insight to how I view the charts and the markets, especially when we're having these scary sell-offs. But I do really feel if you continue to learn and read on about the markets, and especially technical analysis is just my favorite because it just really filters out the noise. But if you spend some time on your charts and draw it out and start to get a feel for the market, you could really plan your trading and when to maybe sell something and just hold it in cash around these movements. Never perfect timing, we just cannot do that, but we just do need to be prepared for what the market may bring and just be ready to act from a place of peace, a place of having practice and just confidence, not fear-based, and just take some time to draw your things out because it's very, very helpful. It helps you become more mechanical versus emotional. So if you're seeing this slice through, you're like, yeah, I could see that it did that. Like I had that already. I already walked through that. If it happens to come back up to test this, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I had an idea that it could do that. And then, it's up to you, but maybe during this time of uncertainty, just planning much shorter duration for your trades. All right, so I hope that was helpful. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. All right, bye.